Did Wapol leak the location of Pluton? Is that why Cobra was unalived? Will Blackbeard break down Wano's borders with the Gura Gura Nomi? We're going to be looking at the spiciest clues that show Blackbeard will soon be leaving Wano with Pluton, and how that means Emu, Luffy and Blackbeard will each have their own ancient weapon. Stick around to the end, it helps a lot, and let's get into this. So firstly, how does Blackbeard know about Pluton and Wano? Okay, let's start with Cobra being assassinated. It seemed he wanted to discuss something important with the Gorosei. Around this time, we know Wapol, a character that is currently with Cobra's daughter, VIVI, leaked information. This is followed by Garp stating the Marines have been very busy, particularly around Alabasta. Kobe describes how the Marines can't keep up with it all, so it's looking like the information Wapol has leaked caused a stir around Cobra's kingdom. This indicates what Cobra wanted to discuss with the Gorosei was about something about Alabasta, which we know would be the poneglyph with the location of Pluton, currently buried under the rubble of the ancient tombs after Luffy and Crocodile's fight. So after overhearing this at the Reverie, Wapol then exposed the fact that Alabasta holds the location of Pluton, which leads to pirates hearing about it throughout the world via Big News Morgan, as shown by this key Blackbeard scene here, which also happens during the same Reverie chapter 956. We see Blackbeard reading the newspaper when all of a sudden he drops some one-off line we haven't heard about since. Blackbeard states he plans to not let the world government take the treasure for themselves. Since Wano, we can assume Pluton is the treasure the world government were after because of the conversations at the time surrounding Robin. Remember, Frankie burned the blueprints and now Robin is the only person in the world we know that has any details about Pluton. Here, Blackbeard could have been reading about the world government's presence at Wano, or he could have been reading about Wapol's leak. Either way, both suggest that it's Pluton that Blackbeard's referring to, which as we know is in Wano. It's unlikely he was just reading the news about Sabo, as his response wouldn't make sense the same way that others do in the chapter. The next question would be, unlikely as it seems, does this mean Blackbeard's going to Wano soon? Recently I made a video about how Buggy will likely get his own mini One Piece, going off what we've seen so far in the story. Now, let's not forget Big Mum said there was a part of the One Piece at Wano, so if Blackbeard was going to get his own little One Piece, it could be there. I'll touch on this later though, as it could actually be crucial in how Blackbeard controls Pluton. Additionally, the arc is called the Four Emperors, yet we've only seen 3, so we're missing Blackbeard now. I get it, hearing this is a bit meh, like what about all the people that are there and all that jazz? Okay, so considering we're seeing Blackbeard's crew get smashed in 1081, I'm thinking it is actually kind of balanced. Yamato is a beast, Momo is meh anyway. There's also Zunisha, who's going to go nutty if he sees Blackbeard has messed with the borders of Wano, so I don't see Blackbeard going there and wasting the whole country. However, I do see Blackbeard wanting to see that poneglyph and prevent others from getting Pluton as well, so yeah, I think he's going to go to Wano relatively soon. Okay, so this leads us to ask, can Blackbeard even free Pluton? We know Pluton requires his borders to be broken down, with Zunisha's huge power being used to scale the rough force required to do so. Whitebeard was said to be the strongest man in the world because of his fruit, and we know Blackbeard has it. Not only do I think the Guru would make light work of the Wano borders, but knowing Oda, it could even be the case that the borders were originally created by the Guru Guru Nomi. It's certainly a strange land formation and seems to parallel the Red Line and Long Ring Longland, both in terms of structure and their involvement in changing water levels. Furthermore, it would be really fitting for the Earth God fruit to have put up the Wano barriers and the Rain God to have subsequently filled Wano with rainwater, which we know is what's in Wano currently. But anyway, I think if Blackbeard uses the Gura to open up the land around the waterfalls that flow upwards, this would reverse the flow and let the water out. I theorise by doing this, Pluton gets pulled out to sea by the current, revealing its enormous size, and that it in part makes up Mount Fiji, which is already implied in the room we saw that hides the poneglyph. I mean, come on, is that not the inside of a ship? More people need to talk about that. That is definitely the inside of a ship. Anyway, here's where things get super spicy. We know Pluton is ancient. Now, there is a whole debate about what defines ancient in the One Piece world. Would you describe the Void Century as ancient at 900 years old? I definitely describe the Tree of Ohara ancient at 5,000 years old. Why do I bring this up though? Well, we know the concept of Nika is ancient, which means gods are ancient because Nika was known as the Sun God. Blackbeard most likely has the Earth God fruit, right? The weapons are described as ancient. So it makes perfect sense that someone possessing an ancient god's will, as we see with the Nika fruit, can pilot an ancient weapon. Now ask yourself, do we think that any god fruit allows any person to control any ancient weapon, or is each weapon set to a certain god? Well, Pluton is infamous for its destructive capabilities, and Blackbeard just so happens to be known for his destructive nature. He also has a dream of destruction. The Gura itself was also noted to be extremely destructive, so tying this all together, it becomes pretty apparent that at the very least, the Gura is compatible with the ancient weapon Pluton, meaning Blackbeard should have no problem activating it with his will or the will of his fruit. This ties into what Big Mum was saying about part of the One Piece being in Wano. If this mini One Piece is something personal and requires will or fruits, then Blackbeard having Pluton would be a perfect match and would be part of the greater One Piece as a whole. So Big Mum's statement would work. It gets spicier though. Picture Blackbeard leaving Wano on Pluton with at least 2 fruits. He would be the most powerful individual on the planet. He's also likely the most dangerous man to both the world government and to Luffy after this. Such firepower allows him to destroy whole islands at will, which is not a good thing for Luffy's allies or the world in general. Who could realistically stop him? Well, it would also mean Blackbeard, Luffy and Emu each have one ancient weapon, presuming the weapon that was used to destroy Lalesia was Uranus. So we can see what Oda's doing here. The chess pieces are being put into position. We do know there'll be a final war. Is it possible the world government and the Grand Fleet will team up to take on Blackbeard, just like the God Valley incident years ago with Roger and Garp? I don't want to admit it, but to me it does look like we're going to have a classic manga and anime trope where the antagonist and protagonist team up to beat a third party. Exactly as we saw in Naruto with Kaguya the Moon Princess. On this note, it's worth mentioning Blackbeard is littered in moon symbology, exactly the same as Wano and its residents. This all further suggests what I'm saying, but as some of you know, that'll all be in the upcoming moon video, so there you have it. I theorize Blackbeard will get Pluton, blast some stuff, cause chaos in the world, and get smashed by Garp's grandson. Make sure to check out Polypedia at the moment. The dude is a pure artist at this point. Links in the description. You can find me at Den Kushi or The Last Arc. Also links in the description. Make sure to give the video a like, and if you made it this far, then you've just won a free Seraphim. So let me know which one you want in the comments, and we'll get that sent via drone ASAP. Stroke a cat, join the Discord. Peace.